Tonight, 2 weeks to the day after they vanished, police have safely located a missing Saskatoon woman and her son in the United States. Also, more students speak out after a CBC News investigation reveals allegations of abuse at a private Saskatoon Christian school. Plus, the Regina Folk Festival gets ready to kick off the weekend in Victoria Park.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Friday, August 5th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening, and thank you for watching. Relief and confusion tonight after a missing mother and son from Saskatoon have turned up in Oregon City, just south of Portland. Dawn Walker and her son Vincent vanished 2 weeks ago today. Now, police have found them in Oregon with the help of U.S. Homeland Security. Walker is accused of entering the country illegally. Bonnie Allen walks us through the story and how it has consumed the community.
Amazing grace. All the support that's here, we're so grateful for that because it gives us strength.
For nearly 2 weeks, people have prayed and searched for Dawn Walker and her 7-year-old son, Vincent, the most powerful Indigenous leaders in the province demanding police action.
Don't leave any stone unturned.
Walker is a high-ranking executive with the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations, representing 74 Saskatchewan First Nations. She's also a comedian.
But I'm actually Indian, not Indian with a dot, Indian with a casino, but...
And a celebrated author, just this week nominated for a national award. The mother and son were last seen on July 22nd. Walker's truck was found at a park south of Saskatoon, her purse and a blanket discovered near the river. Investigators scoured the area by land, air, and water, even using sonar technology. They checked her cell phone and bank records. Police said there was no evidence of foul play, but friends and chiefs suggested otherwise.
We know there's a history of violence here, a history of abuse.
Walker and her ex battled over custody of the boy. He told a private news outlet that he had never hurt Walker and that she had tried to move away several times with their son. On Tuesday, police told the family they may have drowned.
It's heart-wrenching to see what they're going through.
And now Walker and her son are alive and well in Oregon City. Walker is under investigation for allegedly faking their disappearance. Police say Walker entered the country illegally with her son. U.S. authorities are considering charges, as are Saskatoon police. She's now in custody and will be returned to Canada with her son. Vincent will be handed over to a guardian. Bonnie Allen, CBC News, Meadow Lake, Saskatchewan.
The Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations has released a statement about Walker and Jansen being found. In it, Teresa Walker, Dawn's mother, says they are all elated to hear Dawn and Vincent are safe. Quote, "The past 15 days have been very difficult on our family and community. We're extremely thankful to all those who helped with the search efforts," she said. She went on to say, quote, "Our work does not stop here. We recognize our challenges will continue on into the coming days and weeks, and we will continue to support her through this future challenge." A growing number of students are speaking out about alleged abuse they suffered as children at Saskatoon's Christian Centre Academy. They include children and grandchildren of the institution's top officials. Jason Warwick has this update and a warning. The content is disturbing.
This week, a CBC News investigation revealed police complaints have been filed by 18 former students of Saskatoon's Christian Centre Academy, now called Legacy Christian Academy. Since that story was published, CBC News has spoken with more than a dozen new students making similar allegations of violent exorcisms, repeated spankings with large wooden paddles, and other abuse. Caitlin Erickson says having so much support and having other people speak out has been really encouraging.
I'm glad that this media exposure is giving opportunity for others to come forward.
Students say the abuse involved various officials from both church and school. One of the alleged victims is the grandson of the original pastor. He says the frequent paddlings were much more violent than a spanking.
The it's not like just getting swatted with someone's hand. It's like a hardwood paddle that they had specially made. It would absolutely leave pretty intense bruising, be sore for days afterwards.
Many of those speaking out this week say they also plan to contact Saskatoon police. Among them, the son of the former principal.
I want to give a statement, and I want to get my story out there, and like everybody else, just stand up and talk of what happened to us, because it wasn't right.
Erickson says coming forward has given her mixed feelings, a lot of anxiety. But she says having support feels good too.
A big part of me coming forward to begin with was the effects that I saw on my peers. And, for all of us coming forward, it's definitely enabled other people to come forward, and it's just long overdue.
Church and school officials have declined repeated interview requests. In written statements, they say the school has made significant changes. They encourage anyone who feels they were abused to contact police. Students and others are calling on the provincial government to shut the school down immediately, or at least suspend its roughly $700,000 in annual public funding until this investigation is complete. The Office of Education Minister Dustin Duncan said no decisions will be made until the police investigation is complete. Sources say that could take up to a year. Jason Warwick, CBC News, Saskatoon.
The Canadian Centre for Child Protection is warning about a disturbing trend. An increasing number of adolescent boys are becoming victims of sexual extortion. Cameron McIntosh has the warning and the sometimes devastating consequences.
Through this door, in this small room, analysts at cybertip.ca are chasing down sexual predators.
This is essentially the team that is receiving the reports from the Canadian public.
Following up on rising complaints of sextortion.
From January to June, we'd already seen a 150% increase from the previous 6 months.
About 90% of those targets, teenage boys.
With the boys, the difference is that these individuals really don't have that sexual interest, but they have the drive to make money.
Much of it is happening through social media platforms like Instagram and Snapchat. Earlier this year in Manitoba, 17-year-old Daniel Lintz accepted a message that appeared to be sent by a young woman on Snapchat. He was convinced to send an explicit message. Then came demands for money and threats to send the picture to family and friends. His parents spoke to CBC Radio's The Current.
The blackmailing began. He attempted to make the payments, which just makes things worse in most cases from what we've learned. And then, 3 hours after it began, it was over.
He took his life that same day. A story that doesn't surprise this youth advocate who says reliance on social media is increasingly making teens vulnerable.
With COVID and how the world's become more virtual, there's more pressure on people my age to kind of shift into the online world, specifically, online relationships.
While some of this is domestic, a lot of it is coming from overseas, raising warnings from police globally, as well as advice.
Seesaw contact right away and contact your local police.
Those are cases that go reported.
Yeah.
How many go unreported?
Yeah, we don't even have a number on what goes unreported, unfortunately. Those would be the youth that are trying to manage these situations on their own.
Last month, the federal government restarted attempts to draft new online harms legislation, in part to help protect kids online. Legislation it's long promised, but can't say when it will deliver. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The Canadian economy lost about 31,000 jobs last month. It's the second consecutive month of job losses. Still, the unemployment rate stayed at a record low, 4.9%. Here in Saskatchewan, there was a slight increase in the unemployment rate at 4%. As for the number of people working, that went down 1,600 positions from June to July. But when comparing July to July of last year, there was an improvement of almost 24,000 more jobs. All the numbers are seasonally adjusted. The Saskatchewan Party has nominated its candidate for the upcoming Saskatoon-Meewasin by-election. Kim Groff will be campaigning for the seat. He is a longtime Saskatoon resident and small business owner. Groff will be up against the NDP's Nathaniel Teed, who was selected by the NDP on Wednesday. The by-election date has yet to be set. As Saskatoon's population grows, the city is looking at building a second water treatment plant. It will be discussed on Monday at the city's Standing Policy Committee on Environment, Utilities and Corporate Services. The current plant is 116 years old. After expansions, it treats about 250 million litres of water per day. In a news release, the interim director of Saskatoon Water says they need to start planning for another plant. It would bring treatment capacity up to 450 million litres per day, which would be necessary for the 500,000 population they're anticipating in coming years. The team working on this will also be looking at funding options, including getting money from the federal and provincial governments. Small towns are known for coming together in times of need, and that's exactly what happened in Kerrobert earlier this week after a severe thunderstorm. Strong winds around 1 a.m. on Tuesday ripped the roof off this industrial building. Trees were also toppled, homes lost their shingles, and many power lines came down. Thankfully, no one was injured. But the next day, many people in the town banded together to clean up. Families, local businesses, and even the dog pitched in because the power was still out. The day ended with a community-wide barbecue with food donated by local businesses.
It was really good to see. I'm not originally from here and moved here a few years ago, and it made me feel really proud to live here and see that come together and just meet new people and friends that I already know too. And it was really nice to see, and I think everybody felt that same way. And I'm sure if something ever happened again, it'd be the same thing.
Power has since been restored to the town. A severe thunderstorm warning issued by Environment Canada that night said the storm system moved at nearly 80 kilometers an hour. That same storm produced localized flooding and frequent lightning in Saskatoon just a couple of hours later. Well, a live look now at Victoria Park in downtown Regina. The park has been transformed into a festival site for the annual Regina Folk Festival. The music is already underway. Ethan will join us from there with your forecast after the break. Stay with us.
This weather update is brought to you by Capital GMC Buick Cadillac, making back to busy easy.
He is everywhere this week. Weather specialist Ethan Williams joins me now from the Regina Folk Festival.
That's right, Sam, and Inuit-style throat-singing duo Pilk Silk is taking the stage. As you can hear, they are gracing us with some music right now. There's a whole bunch of other performances this evening, and of course throughout the weekend here. And a pretty nice evening in the province for any event that you have going on, but the same cannot be said about 24 hours ago. We had some severe weather, and let's take a look now at just how severe things got. We had a report of a tornado now confirmed by Environment Canada near the Witchican and Big River First Nations. Minimal damage there, preliminary rating of EF0. At Big River and Candle Lake, some pretty large hail falling there. And in the south of the province, a separate storm system bringing some very strong wind gusts. And here's a look at some of that hail that fell around Candle Lake. Olivia taking this photo of some toonie-sized hail in the area. Now, speaking of hail, we do have a new national hailstone record that has been set in Markerville, Alberta on Monday. That was a grapefruit-sized hailstone that fell and collected by the Northern Hail Project, rather. Now, there is a Saskatchewan connection here because the old record was set back north of Weyburn in July of 1973. That one about a centimeter smaller, about softball-sized. Now, speaking of records, we had some pretty hot temperatures in the south yesterday. Coronach, the national hotspot actually, nearly 39 degrees, smashing a record set nearly 50 years ago. Assiniboia, the correct record there is 37.7, set back in 1983. Got so excited I named you twice there. Rockglen and Lucky Lake also picking up some very warm temperatures, but those temperatures are nothing like they are this evening. Much cooler, barely cracking 20 degrees in the south, barely cracking 15 in central portions of the province, and it has been a windy day. The winds have compounded that really fall-like weather we've been seeing. Gusts were close to 70 in Regina and Moose Jaw earlier this afternoon. They have begun to die down a bit here this evening, and they will continue to die down, especially post-midnight. And as we head into tomorrow, we will notice that those should be out of our hair, except for maybe the far north of the province experiencing some gustier conditions. And then as we get to Sunday, tolerable wind gusts once again. They will be nowhere near what we saw today. In terms of precipitation, that will start moving out this evening, and tomorrow conditions should be mostly clear throughout the province, save for maybe the far south where we could see some increasing cloudiness. And then come tomorrow afternoon, some rain is possible in the far north of the province. And then by the time we get to tomorrow night, there is a possibility of some rain in the far north. And then on Sunday, a clear day for all of us. Temperatures going to be warming up as well. In the south of the province tonight, temperatures getting very cool, down to near freezing, especially in Swift Current and Prince Albert. Frost is possible, but temperatures, those cold temperatures, not going to last for long, as we will see those rebound. And in Saskatoon, we are also looking at some sunshine, some nice temperatures, lots of good weather for the Folk Fest here in Regina. Sam, food truck wars in Saskatoon. It'll be a good weekend all around.
Good weekend to be outside. Thanks, Ethan.
Welcome to Ecos Lechon.
Well, it's a lovely day to be outside and grab some delicious food in Saskatoon. Today kicked off the Saskatchewan Filipino Music and Food Street Festival. It promises live bands, dance performances, face painting, and a live karaoke challenge. You can find it in Kiwanis Memorial Park through Sunday. Stay with us. We'll be back after the break. Some kids and teens who just moved to Canada are learning about First Nations culture from Indigenous artists in Regina.
Hey everyone, my name is Nitya and I'm from India. And so on my
14-year-old Nitya Bardwaj moved to Regina from India in June. She's taking part in this 2-week summer program put on by the Regina Open Door Society. This year's theme is belonging. The participants use performance to share what that means to them and the challenges and barriers they experience in their journey to belonging. Indigenous artists teach them about their culture and help find connections.
And they told many things about their culture, like what was allowed and what wasn't. There were many similarities to my Indian culture too. Like in their stories, their grandparents had a very important role. In our culture also, grandparents play a very important role in our lives.
I hope they also find that it was fun, it was enjoyable, and it's something that they want to do some more, or it builds or it fosters a love for theater or a love for being on stage. Because there are like a few students that they're so out there already, and it's so much fun. So I like seeing that, that light come into them.
The program wraps up today. The kids and teens are putting their artistic efforts into a performance for family and friends. Well, we know the stage is set and things are now underway in Victoria Park. The artistic director of the Regina Folk Festival says they are so excited to be back after a couple years away, but it hasn't come without challenges. Headliner Buffy St. Marie canceled to recover from COVID-19, and there have been a few other issues too.
There's a lot of challenges that come up during these times with festivals. So we've had a couple of musicians who are in bands have their flights missed. So there's one band who was a full band and it's now a duo. Julie Doiron and Danny Placard are going to be performing as a duo this weekend. And Dominique Fils-Aimé is unable to make it due to health-related reasons. And Megan Nash and the Best of Intentions have stepped in for her. Artists to the rescue.
Goodwin says regardless of the adjustments, it will be a classic Regina Folk Festival. The sunlit stages have free programming for the public during the day. There will also be artist workshops, crafts, a children's tent, and cultural events in the park. The Folk Festival is also working to make the live music experience more inclusive and accessible. It's launched a hearing loop pilot project. It's thanks to an accessibility funding grant from the City of Regina. Typically, hearing loops are intended for people who are deaf or hard of hearing, but the Folk Festival saw an opportunity to expand their use.
Being accepted to me feels really amazing.
It's been something that staff have been working on, for a few years now. They discovered the technology, and we're basically waiting for an opportunity to find funding to support it. And it's based on the wire that goes into the ground or gets taped down to the floor. As long as you're standing in it in a square or a circle so that it is a loop, you will be able to use it. You're getting the sound that everybody else is getting, but directly from the soundboard to your hearing aids. You can turn it up, turn it down. It's going to be more clear. It's going to sound great. Like, yeah, you're going to have an experience similar to everybody else who's at the festival.
Those who are trying the new technology will be putting on some headphones or earbuds, and that helps like reduce like any background noise or like static or anything, just so they can make sure to enjoy the music better. But for people with autism, that's kind of a little bit different, because you need like some special you need to make sure like it's not too loud or not too quiet. Just be perfectly just right. People have to like plug their ears or like with like earmuffs on. But I think this new technology at the Regina Folk Festival should be like the perfect solution.
What Regina Folk Fest has started doing is awesome, and will hopefully lead to other, music venues implementing the same technology. I think it's definitely making the space more inclusive. It's making it more like neurodivergent friendly as well. Obviously it was made for deaf people, but it's benefiting the autistic community now as well. So I think, yeah, having the true inclusion is just where everyone can come, everyone's welcome, and everyone can be included.
It goes like this.
And hello again, live from the Folk Fest, where in Regina tonight we will see some cool conditions, only in the single digits overnight, and by tomorrow at 8 a.m. we'll be seeing sun and cloud with 12 degrees, with those winds much lighter. As we get to the noon hour, some cloud cover building in, we'll get to 17, and that'll be close to where our daytime high is in Regina. In Saskatoon, a little less cloud. We'll see mainly sunny conditions, also at 12 degrees, with some nice light southwest winds. We get to the afternoon, we're looking at mainly sunny conditions, 19, and those southwest winds a little breezier than Regina, but still not too bad at all. And if you're coming down here to the Folk Fest this evening, Cadence Weapon taking the stage at 8:10, 16 degrees under some mainly sunny conditions. A little bit breezy, Sam, but you won't have to worry about any rain gear because it looks like we are going to stay mostly dry.
All right, thanks, Ethan. And before we leave you, an urban agriculture program in Saskatoon is growing more than food. It's creating connections between young people and the land. The Ski Project brings together Indigenous and non-Indigenous post-secondary students to manage this garden in the heart of Saskatoon. They learn to work the land, grow fresh veggies, herbs, and flowers. The program focuses on cultural teachings and sustainability. One of the interns with the program says the work has been rewarding.
Knowing like how that food can be grown and like how to build like sustainability, and especially like in the middle of a city, right? Because like especially like a lot of Indigenous people like myself, like I kind of lose that connection when I'm here in the city. So it's good to build that connectedness to it.
The gardening program actually expanded this year after acquiring this plot of land in Victoria Park last year. It used to be the Riversdale Lawn Bowling Club. The interns distribute food at a community market, stock the community fridge, and this season deliver subscription boxes. They'll be busy harvesting their bounty and sharing it until the fall. And that is it for us this week. For news anytime, you can head to cbc.ca/sask or subscribe to the CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel. Ethan will be back with more local news and weather tonight at 11. Thank you for watching and have a great weekend.